we have a cash flow slump in January and February. If you sold 10 of those at $2,000, even just 10, that's $20,000 cash that you've got in the door in January.
How am I going to fund this renovation? Maybe I need to go to the bank.
We've got this thing going. I wanted to offer it to you first because you're a valued customer, and here's the deal.
How can we get loads of cash in the door in January so we can set ourselves up for success? So Christmas, you're booked back to back, you're busy, your team are busy, you're smashing sales, the salon is winning, and then January comes along and it can feel like, dun, dun. But when your team sees every single client that they've ever served just before Christmas, it means in January your team are gappy, and maybe you feel like, did I do something wrong? With such a high to such a low, which is why you need to start planning and creating this one strategy now so that you can have a whole lot of cash coming in January. So I'm really excited to have Jo. She's the co-founder of salon software brand Shortcuts. She's back on the podcast because Jo actually taught this very strategy to me years ago when I owned my salon. I loved it, and I no longer stressed about money or needed to borrow money from the bank. So I'm really excited for her to share this with you. But really quickly, before we started, I wanted to let you know that this episode is brought to you by the Salon Mastery Program. The Salon Mastery Program helps salon owners break through the growth ceiling. Do you know? 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, stuck. And it's a step-by-step program to help you step into your role as a salon CEO, build $1 million, and it will help you learn the strategies to elevate your salon, become a successful and profitable salon owner without the stress, without the overwhelm. Hey, no more 60-hour weeks. Those days are gone. Let's get into the episode with Jo. Here is the one thing that will help you increase your cash flow in January. Thanks for joining me on the Salon Owners Collective Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the one thing that you should think about now so you can get loads of cash in the door in January. And I've got Jo from Shortcuts Salon Software with me. Hey, Jo, thank you for joining me on the podcast yet again.
Hi, Larissa. Thanks for having me.
So I know that pre-Christmas, it's a little bit crazy and we make loads of cash, maybe at the cost of our sanity. And then we arrive into January and it can often be quite quiet. And you've come up with this amazing idea, which I've done myself. And I really would love for you to share, how can we get loads of cash in the door in January so we can set ourselves up for success?
Awesome. You're going to start straight there? Yeah?
Let's just go there.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right. So, yes, everybody knows we make hay while the sun shines in November and December, and we see 80% of our clients, if not 100% of our clients, in that period. And then we don't see them for 8 weeks to 10 weeks, which is the average period of seeing customers. And so we have a cash flow slump in January and February, and most people in our industry know that. So one thing I want to say is have a holiday at the end of Christmas, because I think that's the first thing you should do, because you need some downtime. But what you can be thinking about now is an idea that isn't actually mine. I stole this idea from Susan Winholscher, who actually implemented this in her salon, and we ended up building a whole bunch of functionality to help facilitate it. And what it is it's a very simple concept. It's basically you sell a membership or a club fee or a loyalty program, whatever you want to call it, to your top customers, and they pay up front for the year, and you deliver more value back in services to them throughout the year. So there's a few different ways that you can do that. So first of all, you need to work out, what your top spending clients are spending in a year. So I'll give you an example, just round numbers to make it easy to understand. Let's say your top clients are spending about $2,000 a year. That would be me visiting the salon 6 times a year, spending around $300 every time I get my color done. So I'm spending $2,000 in a year. I'm going to spend that no matter what in your salon because I'm a top loyal customer, right? If you offered me that if I paid that up front in January and gave you $2,000 in January, that maybe you'd give me $3,000 worth of hairdressing services for the year. So you're going to give me a value back of $1,000 worth of extra services. That's something that as a client would be very attractive. And for a salon, if you sold 10 of those at $2,000, even just 10, that's $20,000 cash that you've got in the door in January. So that's the concept in a nutshell. And I'm happy to talk through a bit more detail about things you need to think about and how to make it work.
All right, I really love this idea, and you gave this idea to me back in the day, and we did this, Jo, and we, with intent, did that because we wanted to renovate. And so I was like, how am I going to fund this renovation? Maybe I need to go to the bank. Didn't want to use the cash I had in the bank, and this is exactly the thing that we did to solve that problem. So I think it's a great way to get a bit of a stack of cash up front, and also give back to some of your ideal clients. Okay, so why don't you walk us through what are some of those things we need to think about to set up something like this?
Yeah, cool. So first of all, I think you want to think about how much cash you would like. That's, you need to set yourself a goal. Do you want 20,000? Do you want 50,000? How much cash do you want up front, and what do you want to do with that cash? Then you need to figure out what your top clients are spending a year. So you should be able to do that in your computer system. You should be able to find your top 50 customers. What are they spending? And then usually you would look at them and you would know the names, and they're generally your most ideal customer. They're your most favorite customers because they come in a lot, they spend a lot of money, and they generally refer you a lot of clients as well. So first of all, you need to figure out that. It's like, what is the amount of money that my top clients pay a year? And do I think by looking at their names that if I offered them this program, so you could call it a program, a membership, or a club, whatever you want to call it, would they be interested? Would they be prepared to pay upfront in January, and then I'll take care of them for the rest of the year and provide added value to them? That will get you your target list. So first of all, how much money do you want in, and how many clients would it take at what value to get that cash in the door, right? And remember, you're actually not wanting your clients to pay any more than what they normally pay. You just want it up front, and you're going to give them a benefit for getting it up front, right? So that's the first thing you need to do. One of the pitfalls that I've seen is that people sell too many. So it's very attractive to clients. Like when I did this, and probably when you did this in our salons back in the day, it sold out. Like within 2 weeks, people wanted to get on the waiting list. It was only offered to exclusive people, and it sold out. So it's very tempting to keep selling more. The problem is if you sold 100 of them, yes, you can get $200,000 up front, but then you've got 100 customers that you've got to look after, not for free, but for the rest of the year, and you've got to give them added value for that. So depending on the size of your salon and how many team members you've got, you need to work that out. You need to have a really good think about that. My suggestion would be keep it small for the first intake. Let's call it an intake. See how it goes. If it goes really well, you can offer it again in 3 months' time or 6 months' time. Don't oversell it. That's the number one thing. The second thing is don't give too much value back in rewards. So I gave the example of $2,000 and $1,000. I think that's probably about the max that you want to be able to do. And that would be at the high end. I think of this like spend and save, when you go to Country Road or some of these other stores that do it. If you spend $150, you get $50 off. But if you spend $500, you get more off, right? It's the same, but in reverse. So you could also think about having tiers. So you might have tiers where you offer 10 people at $1,000. So they might be not your top clients, but your middle ones. And then, a few at the 2,000. So you can have a couple of tiers, and you would give more value to the people that pay more upfront. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Cool. So let me just look at my notes to make sure I've covered everything. Yes, find out who your top clients are, work out what levels you want, and, how much money you need to be able to do that, and think about, can you service that for the rest of the year? Keep it exclusive, make it very VIP-ish for people that get to do this. And another thing that I will say is, although you're giving away value. So if you sold 10 of them and you're giving them $1,000 back, you're giving away you're getting $20,000 up front, but you're giving away $10,000 worth of value. I want you to think about that as a bit of a marketing spend, because those clients are already your raving fans. They already love you. They're going to always look amazing because they're going to be having lots of services in your salon. So they're likely to have lots of friends that are asking them where they get their hair done. They're probably going to tell them about this exclusive program that you're in. So they will drive more customers to you. So you probably get your return from new customers that will bring to you anyway. And also, they will buy lots of product. So because they're coming in and getting their hair done essentially for free because they paid for it in January, they're more likely to be upsold retail in the salon. So even though you think you're giving away, value, you are, but you're probably going to make it back tenfold by the fact that they're going to be doing marketing for you and they're going to be buying product, if that makes sense.
That's quite documented, isn't it? That when people aren't having to pull out their wallet today because they've prepaid, the likelihood of them still wanting to add extra is actually like the increase of upgrades actually is quite high.
Absolutely. Same thing happens with gift cards, upfront deposits. Yes. Anything that's happened, it's like you have this stress about buying something and then you think, I can't afford this. And then you buy it and you love it. And tomorrow you go buy something else. So it's not about that. It's a psychological thing. So yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay, great. I love that positioning of making it a marketing spend because it's just an indirect marketing spend. And I think it's easy to do something like that. And I know people have come back to me and said, but Larissa, I've now got this massive debt to service. I'm like, well, no, actually, put it in the marketing column and it's a completely different investment. So
totally. You think about what you would have to pay an influencer, to do things for you or what, and look at, when you put something like this in place, there's a bit of thinking to do about it, but it's actually easy to sort of start small. You could offer it to 5 clients. It's totally fine. It's something you could experiment with your top clients. You could keep it under wraps even if you wanted to experiment. But I can tell you, and you can tell everybody that this works. And, once we did this, we did it every year because it was just a regular thing. And we had people on the wait list to want to get into the program.
Yeah, I love the exclusivity around that. One of the things that we learned to do is that the things that they got for free were not core services. So we weren't eroding the original cut, blow wave, like the core maintenance things that they were always coming in for. And that the additional credit, if you will, was used towards more additional bonus upgrade type services that maybe they hadn't tried before and they could experiment with things. And we didn't give quite a third back to them. It was slightly less. Like we worked on that until we found the sweet spot. What's the least that we can give in value and still have it feel high value for them? So that's something to think about is encouraging them to do things that they haven't done before rather than that extra giveaway being on core services.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's right. Treatments, things that they maybe don't have, they can just have that add-on or, all sorts of things. So, yes, I think it's the cool thing about this program is that you can customize it to suit your business. You get to make those decisions based on size of your team, the demographics of your customer base, and that's a cool, but in concept, it's just pay up front and we'll give you some value. And it's like, figuring out that sweet spot that works. It's so simple.
So, Jo, how would we sell this now? Like, how would we position it, get in front of our people? What are your promotional thoughts?
I'm a little bit old school when it comes to this. You can definitely use your technology. You get your target list. It's hopefully fairly small. Like let's say you wanted to sell 10, you'd probably only offer it to 50 people, right? Because 1 in 5 are likely to take it. So I wouldn't be blasting it to your entire customer base via email or SMS. I would be definitely targeting it to the people you want to offer it to only. Yes, you could send them a text message. Yes, you could send them an email. But honestly, the best thing is a phone call or a conversation. And getting your team, divvying it up between your team or contacting customers yourself and just saying, just want to let you know we've got this thing going. I wanted to offer it to you first because you're a valued customer and here's the deal. We've got a downloadable that everybody can grab from this after this podcast, you'll put the link somewhere for everyone to get it. And there's some examples in there of what you would say on a phone script and what you would say in an email, what you would say in an SMS. So we've done a bit of work for you to help in that way. But yeah, it's actually pretty lightweight on the marketing and the selling side as well. But you do, it's not going to sell itself. You do need to talk to people about it.
Okay, I quite like the direct phone call because, like you say, it's only a handful of people and you can get on the call and ask them. I always like snail mail. It's like, it's so old-fashioned that it's kind of retro cool. There's another way you could go ahead and do that. Okay, great. By invitation only. I think that's pretty cool.
By invitation only, absolutely. Yes, a letter is great. I do think there's this, we want this world of self-serve, but then there's also a bit of white glove service that people like as well. And I sort of see this as that. You definitely put together a one-pager or something that you could email afterwards, because people are going to have to think about it. It's an investment for somebody to spend that money up front. They don't normally do that. Another thing I'll add is that you can also let people, I used to let some people pay it off over 3 months. So they could pay it in 3 installments. That's another option as well. So they can buy the membership, but then they've got, it on account and they have to have it paid off within 3 months. It doesn't get you the money all up front in 1 month, but you are guaranteed it across 3. And it's not really that risky, because if they don't pay it, they haven't had the services anyway. So you just pull them out of the program. So that's another way if you have clients with the objection. But generally your top spenders can see the investment in paying that upfront and they don't have an issue with it. But that's just another option too.
Yeah, I like that. And you could always not give quite as much value back to the 3 monthers versus the pay in full.
Yes.
Like you said, you could have tiers.
That's right, exactly. And just like the all the online courses and things, there's an early bird special, and then there's this, and and it's the same form of selling to those VIP customers. You definitely don't want to sell this to someone you don't want coming in here.
Yeah, the one that you dread coming into the salon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you don't sell to her. Exactly. Yeah.
Now, just to recap, you're going to give us the guide with some of the scripts on there, because I was thinking to myself, like, don't get the apprentice to call them. You want to have someone who can articulate and position this really well, but actually you've done the thinking for us, because how you position it is everything.
Yeah, so we've done a little downloadable which explains in a bit more detail what it is, what are the things you need to think about. There's some examples in there. There's the marketing stuff, and then there's how to set it up. Like, how do you actually facilitate it throughout the year and keep a track of where people are up to? So we've built a bunch of functionality into Shortcuts specifically for this. So essentially in our platform, you buy a membership fee, your profile gets credited with a bunch of points, which is to the value that you determine. And then as you have your visitors as you have your visits, your points are deducted. And so at all times you can see exactly.
Hey, it's me again. I just wanted to interrupt and jump in here quickly to say thanks for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate you being here. Just one question though. If you are listening to this episode and thinking, oh my God, this is me, but I'm just not sure what to do, well, don't worry. I've got some strategies for you. The Salon Mastery Program will help you develop and implement a 100K team, 100K mindset, strategies and steps designed to help you lead your team to enjoy 100K careers and install the 100K mindset and motivation so you can help build that inside of your team. The systems, the processes to master the 100K day so you can build the $1 Million Salon. So I want to invite you to join me for a complimentary $1 Million strategy call. We'll discuss your business, your role in the business. Let's see if I'm the right person to help you grow your business and your team. Together, we can reach the $1 Million mark. All you need to do is click the Apply Now button in the show notes of this very episode. You're welcome to book a time, a strategy call. We'll have a chat. All right, that's enough for me. Let's get back to the episode.
People can go crazy and they end up using all their spend within 9 months. that's okay. That's cool. They'll spend more for the rest of the year.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's good to keep it. It's good to keep a track of it. You do need to keep a track of it and make life easy for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing too that just came into my mind. Sorry to interrupt. Another thing that you could also think about if you're worried about, taking up time for free or prepaid services is you can make it not available on a Saturday or busy days if you wanted to as well. That's another option that you've got to decide. The rules are up to you.
As long as you clearly articulate them upfront.
Yes. And I never did that because I didn't want them to feel restricted in any way about when they could come in. And I made sure that I didn't sell too many, that my Saturdays weren't full of nobody paying, right? So it's, again, that just thinking about that balance.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. All right. Well, the time to start this is now, isn't it? To pull the things together. So
Yes.
Once you arrive back in January, you can, get on the phone and get this going, but have a pre-plan. Jo, what are some other things that we should be thinking about in the lead up to the Christmas crazy period? One, get your membership for January sorted. What else?
Yes, that's a good one. Make sure you've got plenty of product. Make sure you don't run out of, professional and retail items so that you are able to upsell. People spend money in December, and I think it's important that your team and your business, you have targets and people are incentivized to generate more revenue than just what's in the book. Yes, you're fully booked, and yes, you're going to make the most amount of revenue, but that could be more as long as you've got plenty of product and a team that's incentivized to sell them. So that's one thing you should definitely do. Two is optimize your roster. Make sure you have enough team members on when it really matters, and have a look at your hours. Generally, so the best way to do that is to go back to last year and look at your capacity and look at what hours were you open, when were you fully booked, when were you running late, and just make sure that you restructure potentially your opening hours during that time. And, you can invite team members to work longer hours if they want to and earn more money, etc. So my saying is always make hay while the sun shines, right? We know we're going to see all our clients, so we need to maximize it. We are going to be working harder, but we can also be working smarter by not having people standing around when they could be working at other times where the demand is there. I also would be taking deposits. I know I bang on about that all the time. You should be taking them all the time, but particularly at Christmas, because if people are not turning up and no showing or reshuffling at the last minute, once those spots are gone, you can't refill them. So I think it's a great time to introduce deposits if you have not done that before. And I think it's very reasonable for your clients to understand why you're doing that at Christmas time. And the messaging is just, we're super busy and we want to make sure that everybody gets the attention that they need. So we're taking deposits, and just give us 24 hours notice or whatever your cancellation policy is should you need to change. Another one, which is really cool, is, getting as much done before the client arrives as possible. So if you can email out pre-arrival forms and get all of the information from new customers and colour customers and any of those things that you need to know beforehand, it saves you sitting tapping your scissors and comb while you're waiting for them to fill out a form before you can get them to the basin to get their hair done, right? So it's just a matter of saving all the minutes that you possibly can, pre-doing anything that's possible. So appointment acknowledgement emails automatically going out, confirmations automatically going out, making sure people arrive and that they've got forms filled out and deposits paid before they get there, so that when they walk in the door, you've got all of that information ready to go. And the last one that I had down, which I've already mentioned, is, setting targets and team incentives. I think it's super important that you've got some goals. We know it's going to be busy, and I think there's a mindset of just let's just do as much as we can. But what does success look like for you? Put a number on it. What did you do last year? What percentage increase do you want to do more this year, and how are you going to achieve that? I think that sitting everyone down and saying, here we go, strap yourselves in, this is what we're going to achieve, and incentivizing your team with some rewards for doing that, I think will really motivate them as well.
Yeah, I love that, especially if there's, something over and above any rewards or incentives that they already have in place. Like, this is different. Christmas is a different time, and we want to make hay while the sun shines, as you
Sun
said.
shines. That's my saying. Yeah. And, and your team want more cash at Christmas time too. Like, it's a great bonus for them, or gift cards or product or whatever it is. It's like, hey guys, we did this last year. You guys absolutely smashed it. And if we can, up it by 5%, then here's what we can do. And I think that just gets everybody on board and working as a team and supporting each other. When someone needs help with the color or in the basin, if you've got a team goal and you're all working towards it, I think everyone sort of digs deep and goes the extra mile.
Agree. Okay, great reminder in the lead up to, or in the middle of, the Christmas crazy period. So, Jo, thank you. Thank you for that brilliant idea. I'm a testament to say that it works. It's golden. Great way to do some special things, whether it's a holiday or a renovation or just to get through. So I really appreciate that insight, and the time to start doing that is now. All right, as we wrap up, Jo, what is something that you're listening to at the moment or read recently that you think everyone should get their hands on? Like, what's the latest thing?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I haven't been reading so much lately. I've been watching Netflix movies.
What have you been watching? I need a good movie.
Psychological thrillers. I've watched 2 really good ones in the last week. Now, let me see if I can recall the names. One was Don't Move. Very, very good. And the other one was Woman of the Hour with Anna Hendrick, I think her name is. Have you seen that?
I love her.
True story.
Yeah. I started watching it, but I started watching it late at night, and I decided not to watch it and finish it right before I went to bed. So I need to go back and finish it, maybe on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. That's a good one. I very rarely watch many movies, but in the last week I've watched those 2 movies just randomly. They came up on Netflix and they were both really good. So maybe that says a bit about me. I like the psychological serial killer movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you like that, go watch those 2.
Great. Good. I think watching a movie is a good, when you're on all the time, powering ahead and you're running a business, like a movie is just a good blank space, I think, to switch your brain off. It's good for a rest.
It is good. And I don't know if you've noticed, but movies are not as long as they used to be. Like, these movies were both under 2 hours. So I was like, I can do that. It starts at 7:30. I'm bed by 9:30. Awesome. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And you don't commit to a whole series when you get to watch a movie, right? I start a series. I'm like, no, I can't. It takes me months to get through a series. But a little short movie is good.
I've got to say, over the weekend, we came back from a couple of weeks in Bali, and we were just so exhausted with the time zone. We watched a whole series. We just binged the whole thing. It was really great.
And what was it? What was the series?
The Perfect Couple.
Oh, yes, so good. I love that too.
Yeah, have you seen that? You've seen that? Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It was great. All right, Jo, thanks for hanging out. We'll talk again soon.
Talk soon. Bye.
Ciao for now. And that's a wrap. Jo, super nice to chat with you again. And I would love to know if you're going to include memberships or a loyalty program into your client plans for 2025. Like, get planning now. That way you're ready for January, ready to get them signed up. You could even start peppering it in December so they're ready to go in January. I love a good Salon membership program, no matter what you're saving for. Quiet periods, renovations, a new floor, or even just a holiday for yourself and your family. Big thanks to you, Jo, for joining us again on the Salon Owners Collective Podcast. And because of this help that you gave me years ago, I actually run this program inside of Salon Mastery. We have got it all done for you. The letters to send, the scripts to say, and all the bits and bobs. It's a killer thing to do. Okay, thanks again, Jo. Till next time on the podcast, next week, same place, same time. Ciao for now.